Just saying, when Harry Potter had a faith crisis, he found peace by staying the course, not by leaving the path. And you know what? I think that makes sense.
It's actually perfectly fine and normal to doubt, to question, and to walk away if that's where the evidence leads. We're not all obligated to pick an answer ahead of time just to make the conclusion fit the narrative that we were raised with. Sometimes peace comes from leaving the path entirely, and sometimes that's the healthiest choice. And if we're going to compare fictional books, let's not forget that Harry Potter is better written than the Book of Mormon. It takes place in actual places that we can point to on a map and doesn't require mental gymnastics to explain why there's zero archaeological evidence for anything in its pages. Honestly, I was almost swayed by your Hogwarts to Nauvoo analogy, but then I remembered I don't believe in God or magic, so I guess I'll just doubt my doubts and stay firmly on the atheist path. And if we're proving a point about one fictional story, let's at least admit that we're using another fictional story to do it.
In Harry Potter 7, Harry spirals into this faith crisis about his mentor Dumbledore after learning some messy information in his past. But Harry never stopped following the path that Dumbledore laid out for him, even while he was questioning, and I think that made all the difference.
I'm finally in agreement with you. The Book of Mormon is just as true as Harry Potter, which is to say, it's great as a fantasy series, but don't make any real-life decisions on it. And the difference is that when Harry found out messy things about Dumbledore, the path still made sense because the mission was backed by proof. Tangible Horcruxes, a literal Dark Lord who tried to kill him, and spells that worked right in front of his eyes. When you realize that the narrative surrounding Joseph Smith was a lie that you'd been fed your entire life, you know, that he married children, women who were already married, sisters and mothers and daughters, and then the church tries to cover that up, you don't double down. You leave.
When you're in crisis, I feel like it can be so easy to feel paralyzed by that doubt. But the reality is that I think continuing on the covenant path can help bring more clarity than staying stuck, because you will naturally start to put the pieces together the more you continue onward.
You know, the funny thing is that I did find clarity, but it came from stepping off the covenant path, not marching mindlessly forward on it. Harry's crisis was about Dumbledore's youthful association with a dangerous ideologue. But Dumbledore spent decades actively fighting that ideology. Let's compare that to Joseph Smith, who never repented for his exploitation, polygamy, and lies. Joseph doubled down on everything and hid it, and eventually got killed after ordering the destruction of a printing press that exposed him. And unlike Harry, I didn't have any Horcruxes to hunt down, no Voldemort to duel, and no Patronus to confirm my beliefs. I wish I had any tangible evidence that the church was true, but no, all I got was a pray about it and a list of temple recommend interview questions.
You're going to gain more perspective with that distance. Harry eventually found peace and reconciled Dumbledore's messy history with the truth of his good character.
Well, here's the thing. If you're FLDS, stay the course means marry your assigned husband, put up with sister wives that you didn't choose, and just keep smiling until the next sister wife moves in. If that's gaining perspective, it's the kind that costs you your autonomy. And I keep coming back to this point. Harry had evidence that his mission was correct. Dumbledore didn't just say, "Hey Harry, believe me that Voldemort's real, and you'll know it's true if you feel warm inside." The difference between him and LDS leadership is that Dumbledore showed proof that magic existed and that the mission mattered. He did that with evidence, and that's a gap that you can't just fill with faith.
He only got there because he never gave up and he completed the quest. And
that's a cute metaphor, but that same logic could talk people into staying in abusive marriages, cults, or multi-level marketing schemes. Don't quit. You'll get the reward if you just keep buying inventory. In real life, there are consequences on staying on the covenant path. You give away your money, you give away your time, your autonomy, and in return you get rules that change depending on the decade. Staying the course isn't always noble. Sometimes it's just expensive and soul-crushing.
I think questions of faith can be opportunities for us to go on kind of a quest for ourselves.
Cool. So when Harry ignored the Dursleys' constant warnings that magic was evil, he was rejecting the stay the course plan and finding something better. I mean, by your logic, LDS missionaries should be telling people, hey, if you have doubts about your religion, just stick with it forever. Should I tell my friend who was Jehovah's Witness that he should never look into Mormonism because Harry Potter didn't give up on his quest? I mean, if staying the course is the best advice, then missionary work is actually immoral. I mean, you're just trying to pull people off of their current path.
And those kinds of journeys always require perseverance, but they are always worth it.
Again, so Draco Malfoy should have stayed loyal to Voldemort, right? The Death Eaters were his covenant path after all. Perseverance doesn't mean that you're heading in the right direction. It means that you haven't stopped walking yet. I mean, Jasmine's analogy here also collapses the moment that we remember that LDS missionaries are not telling potential converts to stay on the path that they already have. Because if you're Catholic or Buddhist or Muslim or atheist, those Mormon missionaries want you to change paths. Always worth it advice magically only applies to Jasmine's religion. And here's the deal: the Jesus that you claim to follow, he praised the Good Samaritan, someone with the quote-unquote wrong religious beliefs, over the religious leaders who stayed the course. Right now, you sound like the priest in the parable who walked by the injured man to get to the synagogue on time. You missed the point entirely. And if we're going to compare Harry Potter characters, the LDS Church would be the Death Eaters or maybe the Dursleys, guarding the cupboard under the stairs while hoarding gold in Gringotts. I mean, the church was founded by a con man, and the institution exploits people and hides billions of dollars. But sure, tell me more about staying the course. Jasmine Rapley, Avada Kedavra.